Soul Center Healing practitioners on www.schhofficial.com, because all of the people that are taking clients are listed on there.
Guess what? We weren't live.
It's just gone now.
Well, it definitely says live on my screen.
It does say live on my screen too. So
well, we're live now. So hey y'all, let's do this again. Listen, second time's a charm.
So
let's just blame it on the entities.
I'm Tony from Ropes and Wings, and I am accompanied by the lovely warrior earth angels of Karren Stamper from Journeying Soul Therapy, Heather Hink from Quantum Healing Within, and Laura Whitworth from Soul Center Healing Hypnosis, the founder, the lovely guest.
Founder.
Oh, that sounds a little bit scary.
No. So, guys, let's go ahead and introduce yourselves and let everybody know where they can find you if they haven't joined one of our lives before.
I am Kaz from Journeying Soul Therapy, based in Cambridge, UK, and you can find me at journeyingsoultherapy.com, or YouTube is Journeying Soul Therapy. All my handles are Journeying Soul Therapy.
And I am Heather Hink with Quantum Healing Within. QuantumHealingWithin.com is where you can find me, and you can also find me on YouTube under Quantum Healing Within.
And I am Laura Whitworth, and you can find me at www.schhofficial.com. And happy summer solstice to everybody.
Yes.
Beautiful. I forgot about that. Laura and I had some crazy, we all had some crazy 2 weeks here, and 3 weeks now. It's been pretty crazy. So it's hard to keep up and keep going.
It's flying by, isn't it? I mean, it's the middle of June. We're in our summertime for our kids here, and we're already halfway through the first month of them being out. And I'm like, where is the time? The time is speeding up, isn't it? Yes. I feel like it is.
I often wondered about that. So you guys, your kids break up in June in America?
May they get out. Yeah, I think it was not the very last week, but the week before was their final day. But they go back in August. So we may go back a little bit sooner than you guys. I'm not sure.
Yeah, about a month before.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we break up in July over here. And I've always wondered when I see everybody, like everyone's on holiday in America, and I'm thinking, how's that then? But obviously we break up earlier.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
You say time's going quick, but it feels like forever since I saw you all together last. So what's happening there?
Well,
it does feel like ages. Yeah, you're right.
It's weird.
The people you want to talk to, it's going slower.
What you don't,
everything else is going faster.
Yeah.
I'm going to check the chat over here. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. I see Derek in the chat. I see Juanita and Sheila and Buck. Hello, guys. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us.
Francine.
All right. So perfect. Should we dive into this?
Let's dive in. So what we wanted to do is we want to get together and we want to discuss everything around healing. Laura and I had that interview with JC, and we talked about entity release. And I think one of the biggest things that we want to talk about is the healing that can occur after entity release, because I think that's really important. So our first topic that we want to discuss is healing from removing entities. So who wants to field that one first and discuss that first? Take it.
Oh, go, Heather.
I was gonna say Laura or you guys go, because I know.
Well, I had a great one last week. I had a really interesting one just from last week. I can only remember the recent past. So I had a client come in she'd had a blind spot in her eye for 20 odd years. So we obviously went into the garden, we did the body scan, and we found an earthbound attached to her eye. It was a young girl. She had had some traumatic experience. She had got lost, and she had attached to this particular client. And as soon as we removed it, I mean, literally straight away after the session, she was like, that has got better. And then she emailed me yesterday or the day before saying, I mean, it was just really emotional. She said in 20 years, her eye has never improved until that session, which is amazing.
It's incredible, isn't it?
So, and hopefully that will just keep improving. Such a good story.
Perfect. You go, Laura.
Where do I start?
At the beginning. Start at the beginning.
It's the very best place to start.
First there was light.
Yeah, exactly. Right away. It's exactly what Kaz says. I mean, when you've done so many, I mean, I've done thousands of entity releases, and they kind of all merge into one now in my mind. But to give a top level view on what can occur, most people will come to you with some kind of physical symptom affecting the body. And when we do our pre-session chat, we will identify from the key indicators that our client gives us, key traumas, and how those particular traumas will have affected one of their energy centers. And then we will be looking for certain things that have probably got into those energy centers due to the fact that that energy center has been impacted. And you will get things like earthbound spirits, you will get demons, reptilians, you will get nefarious ETs, you will get energy parasites, you will get little pixie type, goblin-y type things that are very mischievous and naughty. You will get, sometimes I've even had bad fairies, not very many of those, but there are a camp of fairies that are aligned to the darker energies, which is interesting. And the key areas in people's bodies that they will affect are normally the sacral. Most people will have something in the sacral. The reason for that is it's kind of one of the first energy centers apart from the root that we connect this planet with. It's our center of joy. It's our center of creativity. And as children, oftentimes that center of joy and creativity is squished at some point within the first few months or years of our life. So most people have something in the sacral. Many people who have had some really bad things happen to them in childhood that affected their self-esteem will have something in the solar plexus. And if the solar plexus is impacted, the throat will be as well, because the two come hand in hand. So if someone's got something in the solar plexus, they'll have something in the throat. Many light workers will have something in the third eye and the crown to stop us from connecting fully up to light and bringing it down. And let's just take earthbound spirits as an example. Whatever that earthbound spirit died of, when they left their human body, they're freeze framed in that state of mind and consciousness. So if they were terrified at the time of death, if they couldn't breathe at the time of death, if they were being burnt alive at the time of death, when that earthbound spirit attaches to your client then starts to exhibit those sensations and symptoms, because the consciousness of the earthbound spirit attaches to the consciousness of the client, and they work as kind of a synergistic whole, if you like. So you imagine somebody that's got a whole boatload of earthbound spirits that have died of different reasons. Some of those earthbound spirits might have addictions. Then that opens that particular person's aura up so that they then attract a darker one. And this will always happen. If an earthbound spirit is one of the first ones that gets in, a few earthbound spirits will attach, and then at a certain point they attract a controller. And I've literally had sessions with people where they have had thousands of earthbound spirits attached, and I've had to cross them over in groups. And then eventually I've got to the head guy, who's normally a particularly nasty demon or a reptilian. And there's varying different echelons of demons. You get the lower level ones that are the minions, the middle ones that are just really cruel. They've got a little bit of power. They don't want to go. And then the top level ones, you probably won't ever get to them because they think we're insignificant and don't want to talk to us. So I think that's pretty much all I'm going to say. And you can get energy parasites as well that will just, there's nothing nefarious or malevolent about them. They just are what they are. They are dark energies, so parasitical in nature. The light gives, the dark takes, and they will just take energy from your client. And you will find them in the body, normally in the energy centers. But like what Karren says, they can attach to the eye, they can attach behind a rib, they can be in the knees, they can be anywhere.
And so when you take those off, and it is attached to a certain area and the client is experiencing pain. I had one client that the earthbound spirit that was attached to her had been sliced through the back with a sword on the battlefield. And she had had searing pain in her back for years and years and years with no help from doctors, because that's, it wasn't her energy, it was his. So once we removed that, no more back pain. So many clients report the voices in their head after we remove. You don't realize when you have a lot of different earthbound spirits in there, they're all talking too, and they're projecting their thoughts and feelings and emotions on you. So I've had people write me after and say, for the first time, and I can't remember how long, my mind is clear. I'm not hearing these thoughts. And not only are they not just hearing all those random thoughts that used to be there, they're not hearing the ones that were the angry thoughts, because a lot of these earthbound spirits that have died, they died tragically, and they're still angry about it. They're still hurting. Someone killed them. Someone took their life, and it's unfair. And so they're projecting all of their emotions onto that person. And that person is hearing those thoughts of, I'm not worthy. I'm not good enough. Why don't you kill yourself? What are you here for? And they're thinking, where are these thoughts coming from? They're not even theirs. So that's, for me, been one of the most powerful things, is getting that out of a person so they can get back into who they really are, which they haven't been in a while.
And most people haven't got a clue. Most mainstream people haven't got a clue that this is even a thing.
Right.
And if people understood just how much we are parasited on and affected in terms of our behaviors, emotions, and actions that we take, how much we are affected by these things that are all around us and connected to us. Just because our human eyes can't see them, it doesn't mean that they're not there. And this is the thing, there are different dimensions and vibrations of energy all around us. And just because we can't see it, it does not mean it's not there. And you can speak to thousands of people that have had this particular modality, I can't think of the right word, conducted on them. And they will say, I never realized how bad I was until I had this particular modality done on me, because I thought that was me. I thought I always had low self-esteem, or I thought that little voice that told me that I was pathetic and I was useless and you can't do anything and nobody likes you was me. And it's not until you find those spirits or those darker energies and remove them, plus then we clean all of the energy centers up and we allow the energy to flow correctly through the body. So then the heart chakra opens up. Then they get all of this feeling of love energy coming along. They can forgive everybody that has ever wronged them. They feel amazing and they step into their true power, and their own soul is finally at the steering wheel of their experience. Whereas before, they're just being manipulated by all of these other energies that they probably don't even know are there. And it's difficult for us, isn't it, now as practitioners, because we know all of this stuff, but when you go out there into mainstream society and you interact with other people, you know that for the most part, unless they've had this modality done on them, you're not just interacting with that person, you're interacting with a million different other people. It becomes a little bit like the Matrix, doesn't it? When they know that you're unplugged, but these different people out there have got a million different demons and entities attached, the dark ones will use those guys to try and trigger you and get to you, because they are attached to these key people that are in your life. And
we're being attacked from all sides right now, aren't we? Above and below and inside and outside. And
yeah, exactly. But fair. It's having that knowledge of thinking, okay, so this person is literally attacking me right now, but I know it's not personal. I know it's because they've got a gazillion demons attached, because they're unhealed, and I'm not going to take it personally. And it's us standing in our power as healed people saying, at least I understand why this is happening. But then you've got all of these traumatized people going around re-traumatizing each other even more because they're all wounded and they're all riddled with demons.
Yeah.
And if humanity, from a mainstream perspective, could swallow that knowledge, we would be able to heal as a species, literally within weeks.
Yeah.
Do you think that we're ever going to get to the point, because, you know, you're right, we just don't see what is around us. There's so much more than what you can see in the physical. Do you think we're ever going to get to a point where we're going to acknowledge that this is possible? I've been reading Spirit Releasement Therapy book. Is that what it's called? I think it's a blue book.
Yep.
And I'm at the part right now where they're talking about how spirit releasement and multiple personality disorders throughout time, you know, how sometimes there were periods of time where they recognized spirits were attached, and then somebody would come along and debunk it all. And so everybody would go away from that. And then some new scientist or new person would come along, and now we're back on spirits again, and how it just sort of ebbs and flows through time, as to how we treat people, treat patients, how we look at these different things. But do you feel like we're going to get to a point, and maybe soon, where we begin to recognize that there's more going on in the non-physical that's affecting us than just what we see in the physical?
I mean, I think a good proportion of us are there already, aren't we?
Yeah.
And how many people does it need to be before it's that 100th monkey scenario where everybody suddenly knows it because a certain percentage of us do? And I think when you work in this area as well, and you see the profound healing that occurs with people when they've had this done, that fills you with such a passion. You just want to tell everybody about it. And I think eventually it will get to a point where so many people will recognize it as the most incredible healing modality of this age, that everybody will want it. I really do. I feel that. I feel we're on the precipice.
Yeah.
And I can't wait.
Yeah, a lot more people are talking about it now, aren't they? Lots of people are talking about this.
Yeah.
I think what people, sorry.
I was just going to say, I've even had people reach out to me literally today that I knew years ago. And, you know, we're talking 25 years. And they've realized who I have now become. And they're like, you're that woman that does this thing, and I'm really interested in training in it. And it's actually you. We used to know each other like years ago. Do you remember me? And I'm like, oh yeah, I remember you. Yeah. I think it will. I think everybody eventually will catch on.
Yeah. I think people just need to get their head around the fact that we need to put some work into this. We can't sit meditating under a tree, as great as that is, and then we're in New Earth.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
You are totally right.
There's a lot of work. And I think people need to recognize that, because I was getting triggered a bit last week with some of these new age YouTube channels. And you don't have to do anything. No, I don't. But sometimes it just pop up and I have to have a look at what they're saying. And you don't have to do any work. You just have to sit there and think about unicorns and rainbows, and then piff, puff, poof. I think people need to just realize that there's work to be done. Isn't there?
There really is. And you know, I don't think when a lot of us woke up, we realized just how much work there is to be done.
No, it's intense. It's intense. I feel like as rapidly as I woke up, the work began. And I can remember I call it the purging of the energy. I didn't have a choice. Like, that stuff was coming up. I felt like the guides were like, girl, we got to get this stuff out of you so that you can start doing this healing, because you can't begin to help other people heal. Bless you. I see you sneezing over there.
Sorry, it's my hay fever. It's really bad. So you see me going like this. It's hay fever.
anyway, well, now I lost track of what was I saying?
Sorry, that was my
No,
fault.
you're fine. I wanted to be polite.
We were talking about how much work there is going into everything.
It's just the energy was coming up, but that is what you have to do. It's releasing all of the trauma, all of the pain and suffering that we're not taught to release. We store it, we take it, and we put it into our bodies. You don't realize that. And it starts at a very early age. So you've got the traumas and the things that are all stuck in there in different places. And then you've got the entities that are all stuck in there in different places. And then we've got those darn pesky, past lives that there's still trauma that was never healed in those lifetimes, and that needs healing. So if you look at all of those different things, and there's more than that even, but if you look at all those different things, in order for us to get to a higher frequency, a higher vibration, and be in alignment with that, all of those low frequency energies that we have within us have to come out. And that's the work. It's releasing that energy, going within, figuring out, where is it coming from? How do I get it out of the body? And that's when you start to become lighter and you start to get into more of a balanced energetic state. You're not triggered so much. You don't, you don't get so angry anymore. Things don't bother you so much because you don't have all those energies in there, making that happen.
It's so complex. It's so complex, isn't it?
Yeah. We're so good though as humans at sticking our head in the sand. And that's kind of why we're in this mess.
And it's no wonder really that humans in general are so very damaged and broken, because if you think about how many levels and layers there are of healing here, it is unbelievable. With all of the different traumas that affect us, that emotional trauma we don't release, so we carry it around. And then that emotional trauma, the frequency of that emotional trauma that we're carrying attracts the entities, because they're attracted to that low frequency stuff. And then the entities get in because there's a crack in the aura because of the trauma. And before you know it, then those entities attract other entities. And you can get an area in somebody's body that has got so much going on, it's unbelievable. And if you've got a lot of entities in the third eye, you'll then find that there is just a dark energy blockage in the crown, because this dark energy will get drawn towards the dark entities that are all packed in somebody's third eye as well. It's a bit like fruit and how disease passes in a bowl of fruit. If you think of the human body as a bowl of fruit, and one of the tangerines or oranges starts to get moldy, and then if you don't move that one out, it spreads throughout the whole bowl. That's what occurs in a human body with these energies and entities that get in through trauma. So that is why our world is set up to traumatize us at every available opportunity, to feed the other guys. That's literally what it is. Well, I mean, that's mind-blowing.
Yeah. We're all warriors, healers, and creators. And once we learn how to remove these things ourselves, it just opens up that flow and things start flowing. Your body gets back in the balance and you can heal. And it's just amazing. And I want to address Sheridan, because she said she had a pain in her neck and she has a session with me coming up. And the entities and stuff actually hear what we're saying. They're actually, seeing
entities.
Seeing what they're reading.
We'll be seeing you soon.
I'll be helping you out soon. It's okay, and we'll take care of it. I'll help you, and we'll move on. But they've been with us for so long. It's it's common. They're just lost from light. We're here as practitioners and healers to help and guide them back home to the light. And I have a great compassion for the entities and being able to help them. And each session I do, man, I have cheer tears. I'm so excited sometimes to hear their story and help them back home. It's just amazing to me, because they're just lost from light, and especially the dark ones, and the earthbounds even worse, because they got shocked out of the body. They were confused at the time and didn't know where to go. And we come in that dark, we're a voice in that dark era, or that dark, that pit of despair, and we're basically rescuing them and sending them to the light. And those, once they get their healing on the other side, they're going to be ready to come back and help us. I mean, we're building quite an army on the other side.
And they help us as well.
Yeah.
I've been given confirmation of that. So every entity that we take off as practitioners and convert to the light, they then are taken by Zadkiel and Azrael into the light. They find out, how all of this has occurred. And then they join a team of light that then assists us to help others. Wow. So it's just a beautiful flow and a circle of energy. And it's absolutely incredible. And I think for me as well, one of the most rewarding things is when we find an earthbound spirit of a child. That for me is really profound and really important. Yeah. Because children for me are everything, really. And when you can help a child that is so scared and confused, they didn't know what to do, they just went and stood with this human who looked nice, and then they become bound. When you help them cross back over, that's incredible. And that's the stuff that keeps me going, is those kinds of stories. When
there's a lot of children too, isn't it? Because I come across a lot of young ones, and it's just heartbreaking to hear those stories sometimes. Speaking of young ones, I had a session last week with just an absolutely beautiful young girl, 12 years old, just an amazing soul, dealing with so much in her life at 12 years old. She's able to see the entities in the environment. She's able to see the darkness that we take off of people. She can see that. She can look at a person and see where the different things are located. And she's also dealing with a lot of energy that comes at her and overwhelms her. She's like a sponge and just takes it all in. At 12, you do not know how to handle any of that. So we did a wonderful, just amazing session. She was an absolute rock star. Just beyond my expectations of how she handled that session. But we removed from her, most of what she had on her was energies from this life and past lives. So we cleared all of that up, but she did have one attached. It was a young girl, a little bit older than she is in this lifetime. And this poor girl had just been through it in the life that she lost, her life. And just was very angry and didn't want to speak. But to help her eventually cross over was just, it's touching that you're not only helping an earthbound soul cross over that's young, but then you've got this beautiful 12-year-old girl that's getting clear of these entities at such an early age. Because I know we find a lot of these, you get a lot of these attachments at such a young age. It's not later in life. I mean, they can come in the womb. They can come in at birth. You see that a lot, Laura?
They're passed down a lot from a sacral attachment from the woman who is pregnant. When they birth that child, the sacral attachment will go with the child. So most people are born with a demon or a dark one already attached, and they think, I've got this part of me, this side of me that I don't really like. It doesn't come out very often, but it's not them, it's not even them, but they think it's them because it's always been there. And that you'll see that running down family lines as well, particularly family lines where there's been a severe addiction or lots of trauma. These demons hop from one generation to the next. And once they've damaged relationships, they can move on, because that trauma will always stay. So it's the level of healing that can be brought about for humanity once we realize just how tricked, fooled, parasited and used and abused we have been. We can fully step into our power, blast our light so far and so wide, and just heal everybody. And that's it. Then we're in the next vibration, because they can't touch us then. That's why this work is so important, because we're cleaning and clearing people. That raises the vibration. All of the people around those people raise their vibration a little bit because they're affected by those, and we're pulling everybody up. So the more of this we do, the better it is for humanity.
And it just gives people their power back, doesn't it? And I love when I get feedback saying, I just feel like I'm myself again and I have my power back. It's amazing. Yeah.
They can move forward in life because they were stuck, because those energies, those entities were holding them back, making them feel like they weren't worthy or good enough. And all of a sudden those are gone and they have the clarity, the clear mind to move forward and take the next steps into their life. And it's a whole new experience, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about some of the experiences that clients have, after a session where we're removing the entities. And a question came up in an email of mine just before I got on the show here about, okay, so we cleared off all the entities, and now what do I do? How do we prevent them from attaching to us again? So let's talk about some of the healing that can happen, the feelings or whatever, by removing the entities. And let's talk about how we can protect ourselves from having further attachments moving forward. So
Who wants to go?
Go on, Laura.
I was going to say, Laura, you go.
you go,
Oh,
Laura.
You go, girl. You go, girl.
You guys go.
Well, I talked about the physical aspect of that. I think people leave it till the very last minute when their body's being attacked. And then once that's been removed, they will feel the healing. They feel so much better physically. With regards to protecting yourself, I just think people, we all have that power, don't we? We are all really powerful. And when you get that power back at the end of your session, you feel that power. I always tell my clients to put their shields up twice a day, at least, once in the morning, once in the evening. And Heather and I had a session yesterday together, didn't we? Where the triangle was very important as well as a shield. Right. And you use that pyramid, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I use that a lot, and I recommend that to my clients just as a visual. I've asked many times in the sessions when we're talking to the guides, can you just simply set the intention to be protected, or is it important to visualize the energy? And setting the intention is wonderful, but the visualization almost locks it in. So, I always use a pyramid of white light because it's come to me that that's just a very strong, powerful, protective, geometric shape. Placing a pyramid over the home, placing a pyramid over you, just simply visualizing that. You don't have to do it that way. But even in Lauren's session, the 12-year-old girl, she was given so many tools to help her. Taking some black crystals into your pockets will help to absorb the energies when they're around you and you take them in. Also, taking your focus off of the energies, finding something to focus your attention on so you're not paying attention to all the chaos around you. Placing that white light around her, calling upon your guides for help. That's important. They're always saying, we're here to help you, but you have to ask. We can't just come and interfere in your life. You've got to ask us. There's so many very simple ways that we can protect ourselves. The unfortunate thing is that most people just don't know. And even if you said, hey, just throw some white light around you, they'd be like, what? What are you talking about? That can't do anything. But we find in our sessions that it's so powerful.
It's all in the intention. I've got to tell you a funny story. When everyone was masked up here in the UK and I had to go to the shops and obviously I wasn't wearing one, I literally would put a cloak of invisibility over myself.
Yeah.
Like Harry Potter. Totally works.
Yeah.
Totally works.
Yeah. But
could walk in, get my shopping, walk out. No one even looked at me.
I love
so
it.
it's just all in your intention. You can just make it up as you go along.
One of the things that I hear is that people will say they can't stop crying after a session. And that is indicative that the flow of energy is good throughout the body because the heart center is open. So people will say just the slightest thing sets me off, like I see a bird on a twig and I want to cry. I don't know why. And it's because they're in the flow. The heart energy is open. And one of the biggest things that we have available to us is within, and it's our own state of mind and it's our own thoughts and where we choose to place our focus. And there will be many things in our reality that can, if we allow it, take us down a negative path. But we have to choose to stay positive. We have to choose to always see the sunny side of the street. And what you focus on is what you will bring more of into your life.
Yes.
And if you are placing shields as well with intention, I am placing this pyramid of white light around me with the intention of protection. That's all you need to do.
Yeah.
And I will use a bubble of white light. I use golden triangles, like a macabre shape with golden spinning circles around it, white light pyramid. And I also put a shungite shield, an obsidian shield, and a tourmaline shield around me as well. And how do I do that? I simply visualize each crystal. I visualize the sphere of that crystal all the way around me. I feel its power, and I connect with my intention down into Gaia, and I ask Gaia to make that energetic shield as powerful as possible for my protection. And Gaia will do anything though Gaia will do anything for anybody, but for those of her that's on her body that are there to protect and bring the light in to aid her ascension, name it and she will do it for you. So connecting into Gaia as well is another great thing to do to really feel that power. And obviously connecting to your own guides and the archangels and asking them to provide protection. Things like using shungite, elite shungite in the bath, Epsom salts, Himalayan salts in the bath, using crystals, as Heather mentioned, particularly the darker ones, shungite, obsidian, tourmaline, cat's eye, for protection. Hematite as well, I think, is a protective stone. And another thing that people never think about, because it's in their own home and you don't often think about this, is the energy in cluttered spaces. So if you've got any cluttered spaces in your home, particularly closets need to be aired out every so often. You take all the clothes out, whack some tuning forks over them. That's a quick and easy way to raise the vibration of the clothes. Burn some sage or distill some frankincense and myrrh, or burn some frankincense and myrrh resin, and clean down, wipe down the insides of all of your closets, your cupboards, any areas in the house that's fusty, particularly the attic. And if you do that, you will notice a change in your space. Grid your house as well with crystals. So black tourmaline in the corners with a clear quartz point leading into that black tourmaline, cat's eye in the middle, shungite everywhere where you've got electrical appliances. That will raise the vibration and protect you.
I love cleaning. I was getting really excited then.
You're the
right, tomorrow.
You're the only one, Kaz, who gets excited about cleaning. I need you to come over and do my house.
I love it. I think I should start a little business.
All right.
Yeah.
So, and after, us removing the entities, people can feel like empty, hollow spaces because they've been with us for a long time. And if you do feel that, if you feel these prings and prangs and empty, hollow spaces, flood it with white light. Get the healing in. This is your body resetting and coming back into balance, and it can go and heal. And someone had asked on the chat if it would take more than one session to clear off entities, and that could be true in some cases because it's layers of the onion. We remove off the first layer, then we find some more, and we might have to remove off those too. But the more sessions you have, you become trained and you have a remembrance of how we used to do that, and you begin to start being able to clear these off yourself. And then occasionally, even us as practitioners need the help of another practitioner to get that one we just can't get in the back. And as long as you keep your vibration high and you're focused on the things that you want to be, your reality to be, you're going to remain protected from further entities coming to you. And of course, everybody knows what protections I use. I mean, every day I'm putting on my whole God's armor and carrying my shield of belief and my sword of truth and my love bow.
Your love arrows.
And my love arrows, and shooting everybody that triggers me. And that's my protections. And I surround my house and I surround myself in bubbles of light protection.
And
all
your
the way
kids
around
and
us.
your pets too. Don't forget them.
Absolutely. and the electronics and the black screens that we have, and surround those all with a white bubble, or
Can we
whatever
talk about that for just a minute? The
Go ahead. Yeah,
electronics.
absolutely.
That has been coming up lately in sessions, that, we don't realize that our electronics, our devices, our TVs can open up portals when we're not watching something of the highest vibration. And, I've been guilty in my life of watching scary movies and things like that. I used to love them, before I had a clue any of this existed, but, I've had so many sessions where I've had Archangel Michael, check the home for portals, and they're open next to a computer, or you can be watching things of a low vibration. They don't have to be really super bad things, but just of a low vibration, and it can open up a portal. It opens up, I guess, the energy that maybe it creates within you as you're watching it. If it brings in fear or anger, that can open up a portal which allows these things to come in. So I've gotten in a habit of, when I ask Archangel Michael or my guides to help me clear my home, my space, to place white light around all of my screens and devices. That's been hot on my mind lately because I've seen that in so many sessions.
A lot of people as well who will come to you with a pornography addiction,
right,
will have a portal in that room where they watch the pornography.
Yeah.
And so that lowers the vibration of that room as well. And it allows all sorts of things to come in to the space, which then attach to the person whilst they are in that vibration of when they're watching it. But, horror films, from being a child, I just instinctively knew not to watch horror films.
I was just drawn, like, I don't know what it was. I think I liked the scare factor of it. It was preparing me for what I had to deal with one day, I think.
Yeah. I had a really good friend as well who was obsessed with them. And every time I would go round to her house, I'd just be sat behind a pillow going, I'm not watching it. But it's true. What you say is absolutely true. You've got to be careful about what you're watching, because everything is energy and vibration. So if you're watching something that is of low energy, even for entertainment purposes, that can open an energetic portal that is the same vibration as the content you're watching, which can then let other nefarious beings through into your home.
Video games as well for the kids.
Absolutely.
Which I have a video gamer downstairs, so I have to extra protect.
And that's why all of these video games are so violent.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. It's for that reason.
I know. Oh.
To get people addicted to being in that vibration, and then it allows these entities to feed.
We just can't win in this reality, can we?
I mean, it's crazy. If you think about it,
whose idea was this?
We can too. We're very powerful. We can win in this. We are winning in this reality. We're going to make it what we want it to be.
At least we're fighting back now, aren't we?
Yes.
That's what we're doing.
Up and fighting back is what we're doing. Yeah.
What I find interesting too is stuff like the chips that they're starting to put into people. That existed on the fourth dimension before. Everything seems to exist up there, and then it's sort of filtering down, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And from the stuff that we've all seen coming up as sessions, I'm thinking, what's next? What are they going to hit us with next?
Right.
But as long as when you get to a certain point as well, and your vibration has risen high enough, they can't actually reach you. So if you use that analogy of that hot air balloon with the sandbags and the ropes are the entities. We take those entities off, and then that hot air balloon can fly up in the air, and then those sandbags can't reach where the hot air balloon is, because they're just two very, very different densities of energy. So as long as we are constantly raising our vibration, eventually we will vibrate so far apart that we will go into two different realities. And that for me essentially is what Ascension is, because they can't exist in the vibration that we are in. Once we as a collective enter love vibration, it's over, because they can't vibrate at the same resonance as love, because they don't understand it. They've got no green ray activity at all. Green ray, heart energy, is something that these entities do not have. All they have is the lower energy centers that's all around power and control. Anything above that, they can't understand.
But we need to do the work. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. You've got to, it's a daily effort to not get triggered. And for me, I find it the most difficult having children. Because as an adult, you can choose who you interact with, can't you? You can say, I'm going to interact with this person because they're high vibration, and this person. But with your children, you have no control over that because they are your children. And they argue constantly. So for me, I feel like God or Source tests me daily, because I have to literally stay so strong within my own vibration of happiness to not be triggered. This realm is tough.
It really is.
On top of entities, we've got kids.
They're harder.
Amber asked a question on how, if we had any advice for living in the home for protection of someone who watches mostly horror and true crime shows. And my wife is one of those people that has to watch the ID channel, and I just surround the TV with a bubble of light and just tune it out.
Shungite spheres as well. Shungite and obsidian spheres all the way in front of the TV. That'll hold the energy, and bowls of salt.
And I have selenite in front of mine too. Does selenite absorb energies, or does it just?
Selenite cleanses other crystals, so it doesn't need to be cleansed itself, and it holds a very high frequency.
I've got a selenite bar in front of my TV.
I put selenite in my water. I've started to do that.
Selenite. Doesn't go in water though; it'll melt.
But I think that's the point. It kind of disintegrates into the water.
Oh, so you want to drink the selenite
so you drink it.
Ooh.
So this has been coming up in our sessions.
Eating crystals. Eating
crystals.
My
God,
crystal
it's the future.
That's right.
So, and I've obviously, and you said this at one point, Laura, that they were disintegrating.
Yeah, they do. Because I made the massive mistake once of completely melting one of my selenites.
So I started putting it in my water, and it's disintegrating, and I'm drinking it. And I thought, well, let's give it a go.
And your vibration is excellent, so it must be working.
But it kept coming up in our sessions, eating crystals.
I like it. Yeah. Ooh, Karren.
And you might be onto something.
That last session that I just posted on YouTube, that come up about eating crystals, and I said, so how is it possible, or how do we eat crystals? And I think it said like, no, we don't eat the crystals. It basically, we atomize or make it really small particles. Atomize the crystals, and then we either drink it or have it in the food. And so that, selenite would do that too. And just like putting salt in your water, you're basically atomizing a crystal and adding it to your water.
I've been doing it for a few weeks and I'm okay. So
it's funny though, I noticed your energetic frequency is different this time.
Oh,
I think it's good.
There's a lot of people commenting on that in the chat too, and it's
I've got a crystal in my bunny's water, and the way that I get these bunnies that I love them so much, but they are so pampered. They've had so many issues since they've been here, and I feel like I have them so that I can learn how to heal through them, because they keep having these issues. But I had the one that never has any problems, and all of a sudden she started developing this head tilt where her head was just dropping to the side, and I was panicking. I don't want to take her to a regular vet because I don't want to go that route. So I have this lovely functional medical doctor who I just adore. She's not a vet, but she can tune in and figure out what's going on with the animals. And what was coming through was the frequency of the water. So she said, what she's telling me is she wants you to go get some spring water for her. And I'm like, all right, hang on. I was like, I do enough for these bunnies. I am not going to get spring water for her.
Go on, off you go.
I mean, you wouldn't believe these bunnies. They are very pampered. But I got to thinking, okay, how can we change the frequency of the water? And I said, what if we put a crystal in it? So she tested on that and she said, yep, that would do it. So I got a pink calcite crystal and it stays in the dish. And after I put it in, no more head tilt, no more problems.
That's incredible.
I'm going to just go with that was what it was until something else happens. But yeah, so now she's got a selenite tower behind that keeps the pink calcite crystal charged.
Wow. Her own bunny selenite. That is amazing.
These bunnies are making me crazy with their health issues, so I'll do it.
It's perfect. I mean, remember, guys, we are powerful beings, and just with our intention, we can program anything to do what we need, because everything is crystalline based, and we, even ourselves. So us setting the intention in any object and any being can help us. So, no matter what crystal it is, if we set that intentional, and we know we can set intention into water to change it into something that heals. And so any intention we set in for whatever we need, protections, whatever it is, we can do that. Shoot, even vehicles, objects, I mean, we can set intention in that. We can heal them. They all have a consciousness, and we can use them to help us. So it doesn't really matter.
I hear a lot in sessions about, even when you're eating stuff that's not so great, that doesn't have the highest frequency, you can shift that simply through your intention and the love you put in it. Mm-hmm. And the guides have also said in a lot of sessions, write the word love on your cups, or get a cup with the word love on it. Simply by doing that, you're shifting the frequency. There's so many cool things that we could do. It's just, we need like a compiled list of all of the things, that we hear in these sessions that are very simple, but could completely change the frequency and the vibration of what we interact with in our environment.
And I do that with my pyramid water, because I constructed, we're back to the pyramids. We were just talking about those, but I constructed little wooden pyramids on the countertops that I put my water in that I drink in the morning. And when I drink that, before I drink that, I basically am blessing that water to take care of me and heal any part of me that needs healed. So I supercharged it with the pyramid energy for 24 hours, and then I'm blessing it on top of it and making it a powerful substance. So, and just so many healing properties with that. So it's simple. It's all simple. We can do it.
There's so many things we can do, isn't there? It's just consciously remembering to do them.
Mm-hmm.
And watching your thoughts.
Oh, yes. Thoughts are perfect.
Always.
Sleep fit, Kaz. Sleep fit.
I keep forgetting.
I never started.
Tony had this idea that you tell the story, Tony.
We need. I guess we need to fill Laura in and everybody else out there. So Heather, Kaz, and I are on a chat group together where we talk quite often, and poor Heather, she's running on a treadmill, and both Kaz and I are going, "Oh my God, that sounds so terrible. That sounds so terrible."
They
and we're
like, so supportive, these guys.
we feel sorry for you, Heather. You know what we're going to do? We're going to do sleep fit. So in that hypnotic state of before we go to bed, picture the part of the body you want to change, because our thoughts are so powerful, and imagine how you want that to look, and it will change over time. I am 100% sure that we can change our looks and our feeling about ourselves from just our thought. And so that's where we got on this sleep fit. I said, oh my God, we're doing sleep fit, because I don't really like working out unless it's doing work on the farm. I mean, I'm just going to do sleep fit, and I'm going to change it. And you know what? Every time I look in the mirror, I look better. My body, I physically feel like I am getting younger.
Say what you think, Tony. Say what you think.
I look damn good.
So have you been doing it every night, or?
Yes, I'm trying as much as I can.
I keep forgetting.
Oh my goodness.
But
I think I tried it once and my brain was like, it's never going to work.
And it started with my session with when Laura did the session on me, because it opened up that flow, and I'm like, holy shit. I looked in the mirror and I'm like, holy cow, I look different. I look good.
You do look different.
And
very different from how you were before that first session.
And that's the beautiful thing about our sessions is, from the beginning, when we start in the pre-session chat to the end, people's glow is different. I mean, they look great. They look great. And then, you feel more powerful seeing these past lives and having these entities removed off. You feel so great. You've never felt this way before in your life. And you feel like you can accomplish anything, and you really can. You can. The bodies heal, and the bodies can change by just the simple thought and intention. So it's perfect.
Things begin to heal that couldn't heal before because you had something in there blocking it.
Right.
I had a client just recently that was just so excited because her teeth were starting to heal. Teeth are it's a big problem for a lot of us. And she had things that we removed around that area. And so for the first time in years, her teeth are healing. And that's just pretty incredible.
Amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
I feel so grateful to do what we do. I sometimes have to pinch myself even now. I just think, how did we end up doing this? Because I mean, it's a very different job, isn't it?
Very.
But it's the most amazing job ever.
Yeah.
Out of anything.
Yeah.
It really is.
It's all your fault, Laura. You're the one that got us all together and go, hey, let's do this.
Let's do it. No, we all planned this upstairs before we came in.
Right.
All of us.
Yeah.
We did. We've gotten that through sessions.
Yeah.
One of us is the one that said, hey, let's go to Earth. let's go to Earth and do a little cleanup down there. The rest of us were like, okay, we'll go.
Who was it?
We'll go if we have to.
Well, one thing, and I like to reiterate this every chance I get, because we are so programmed to believe by the medical community that these bodies are mechanical systems, and they have to cut stuff out, and they have to poison stuff and remove stuff to get it to function. Well, that's not the case. These earth suits are electrical systems, and when we open up that flow, it's like having a kink in your wire. Once you open up that flow and the electricity can flow through the body like it's supposed to, your body heals, and it's beautiful and perfect. And I feel like I have to reiterate that every time. Once we all understand that these earth suits are electrical systems, you have that neutral pole running up through the center, which is your spine, and then you have the negative and positive snakes that coil up the spine, and where they come together is your chakra points. And the entities and the blockages and the trauma and all that stuff collect in those wire points, and it causes a blockage, and that flow of energy cannot move. And once we clear that out, things just open up, and then the body goes back into balance and can heal, and we can heal from anything. So it's just really important to restate that. I think I do talk about that awful lot.
It's a good point, though.
It is a good point.
It's a good point.
It is.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
And I think it's important that people are able to ask for help. People are able to find us. I mean, if something in your house was broken, you're not just going to leave it unfixed, are you? You're going to look for someone to come and help you fix it. So we're fixers.
Yeah, we're helping people fix what potentially many people didn't even know was broken until it begins to affect the physical body.
Yeah.
Once it starts to affect the physical, people stand up and pay attention, because those aches and pains really get our attention. But oftentimes those aches and pains are the end result of a journey, and they are to do with emotional traumas that you've carried for a long time that you've not healed. And those emotional traumas have then been attracting entities, and those entities cause us to have addictions and partake in low frequency behaviors and terrible thoughts in the mind which aren't your own. And it's just a vicious circle. Once you take those entities off, once you heal the trauma, once you then clean and cleanse that electrical system that Tony talks about with the where the the wires crossed being the chakra or the chakra points, however you say it. And then once that's all clean and clear, then you can move forwards with your power. And what we also do as hypnotherapists as well, when we use this modality, is we will reprogram the neural pathways of that client before we bring them out, because that person has been for a long time operating with many, many controllers at the helm if they've got lots of entities. So if we're taking all those entities away, we want that client to understand that their behaviors that they have been partaking in weren't theirs. And moving forwards, they will no longer feel the need to do those things. Or if anger was a problem that they said, I get really triggered, I get really angry, you will find moving forwards that when the feeling of anger, the emotion of anger is noticed in the body, that you will be able to notice that energy and just simply become an observer of it and release it rather than being ruled by it. And so we put all of these intentions into the client's mind to reprogram the neural pathways. So when they come out, they're no longer being operated and influenced by that entity that's been making them feel angry. But when they do feel anger again, on an unconscious and subconscious level, their mind thinks, no, we're going to just observe this. This is a funny feeling. And many clients will report, the first time I got angry, I couldn't stop laughing. And you're like, you couldn't stop laughing? Yeah, because I was angry and it was great because I didn't smash anything up. I didn't, start a fight with anybody. I was just aware of the anger and it was mine. And the second I realized it was mine, it was gone.
You could change it. Yeah.
Yeah, it just flowed through. It went. You're giving people such a sense of peace.
You're in control of those emotions that you couldn't control because they weren't yours. And I'm like you, the anger comes up or an emotion comes up, and now I have the ability to go, okay, why are you feeling that way? Like, what is causing that? And I can sort of follow it back to figure out the root cause or where it's coming from, instead of that reaction, that used to come up. And that's when you get clear and you get all those things out and you get your energy in alignment and balance and all the energy centers cleared out. You don't react. You have the ability to just figure out what's going on and how do I need to adjust so that it doesn't, I don't feel this way anymore.
Well, you've been cleared and it helps you open up that dialogue with yourself again that was blocked before.
Yeah.
And you can sit and communicate with yourself.
And you realize as well, when it's just you, that you're actually a really nice person. And that affects your self-esteem. You think, God, I am a really good person. All of these years I thought I was awful, but it wasn't me. So it gives people such a sense of peace, because then they think, right, now I'm at the helm.
I'm in charge.
Yeah, I am truly responsible about, what actions I take now. And I'm going to make sure that those actions are the right ones, because I can't blame anyone else now. It's me. And you're not having your buttons pressed by all of these other entities that are literally sat on your shoulder going, do it.
Yeah,
they're not there. They're not there anymore. It gives you so much peace and happiness.
Yeah.
Which is wonderful.
Yeah. It's beautiful. Francine had asked, what happens to humans that have negative entities when we go to New Earth? And I'd like to answer that actually, because, I think we have to think of everything in like frequency and vibration. I don't think we're actually going to a physical New Earth, like we're just going to get on a ship and just travel there. Let's go. It's already there. It's about us raising our vibration and frequency to the point that the negative entities that are at that lower vibration are not even going to be able to function there. Like in Kaz's session, it was gateways, that she was a goddess at a gateway of New Earth, that people were just, the vibration was just going to increase so much. I mean, she looked like a goddess, she said, and she was riding her Pegasus.
On a Pegasus.
On the
Yes,
Pegasus.
Karren.
It
Yes.
was the best.
And
I was on this horse, sorry, and I looked around Laura and I went, it's got wings.
Wow.
Sorry, Tony.
That
she
is
was
amazing.
the goddess. But no, but you know, and so that session though kind of says how it's going to happen. So the peoples, and she was the goddess in this dimension, this fifth dimension or wherever it was. I'm not sure which dimension it was, but and they were there as a council to oversee the movement to New Earth. And it wasn't about just moving to another place. The gateway was they risen the frequency so much that they just passed through that gateway. And because their frequency has risen, and those lower entities and the lower beings, even the lower humans, are not going to be able to go through that gateway because they're not at the right frequency to function.
I did a session. Sorry, Tony, to cut you off.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I did a session years ago now, with a woman, and her session, she said she was the gatekeeper.
Wow.
I am the gatekeeper.
Like Ghostbusters.
Yeah, and she described Ascension and how it works, and she basically said think of like a net or a colander, if you will. All of these denser energies are bigger shapes, much bigger shapes. The only people that will be able to vibrate into that frequency of New Earth are the ones that have refined themselves to these smaller shapes, and they will be able to fit through the colander. And basically, those smaller shapes are people that have worked on their own vibration to the point where they've released all of their trauma, they've healed themselves, because this affects the frequency. They've released all of the energetic parasites because this will raise their vibration, and they are in the vibration of love. And that is the key to make it through past the gatekeeper, through this colander into this higher realm, is when you are vibrating at the vibration of love. That is your entrance ticket. That's all you need. That's your entrance ticket.
I see it. Sorry, I see it as scales. So we're down here working away, and we're sort of, this is all the heavy stuff. And the more we build, the more we build, the more we build, the more, and then it kind of, we pop up and they go down.
Yeah. Absolutely. I was trying to explain it to my eldest child the other day, and I said, it's all about, just think of them as like, I don't know, just bubbles, darling. And these people that are like nasty, that contain these lower energies are heavy. So these people all have to bounce around along the bottom because they don't have that light vibration inside them to make them rise. Whereas us, we have that lightness of heart, and so we will rise here. And then at a certain point, when all of these bubbles that can't rise because they're really heavy are at the bottom and we're all at the top, that's when the consciousness will split fully into two collective consciousnesses, because we're a joint collective consciousness at the moment, aren't we? And when we split into those two separate collective consciousnesses, ours will then, all of us will see out there what we hold inside. And because what we hold inside is love and harmony to all man and peace, what we will see out there is New Earth. It's literally this place where we are. What we see out there is to do with what you hold inside. And because we have two very different dissonances of vibration in this joint reality currently, that's why this world is so screwed up, because we've got the service to others and the service to self. Once those two completely get in line on their opposite sides, and there's still some people that aren't sure which side to choose yet, once they're completely in line, that it will split. And we will have those two separate collective consciousnesses. So imagine from the other side of the fence, those guys that don't have us in their collective consciousness group anymore. Imagine what their version of Earth will look like in comparison to our version of Earth. There's a very, very old program, and I don't know if you guys have seen it in America, but Karren, you might have seen it, called Red Dwarf. It's
Yeah.
been going for years.
Yeah.
And that is absolutely disclosure right there in plain sight. And they do one episode where that literally happens. So the red dwarf splits, and it splits all of the goodness on one version of it and all of the badness on the other version of it. So if you go to the good ship, it's all peace and harmony and everyone's brother, sister, you know, literally New Earth.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the other ship, it's just full of maggots and everyone's killing each other and everyone's stealing all of the resources that everybody has, a bit like Mad Max. So at that point, everybody karmically will receive the full force of their choices. And so if you have vibrated at that lower resonance that has chosen you to go along with the collective consciousness that stays in 3D, you will then fully understand the choice that you've made. And I think most people at this point don't see that yet, but they will eventually.
But you can see the ones out and about that definitely have chosen.
Yes.
You can definitely see the ones that are going one way and the ones that are definitely going another. And then there's this bunch in the middle that are,
once the bunch in the middle are all sorted. It's like that thing at school, isn't it? I'll have you. Once the teams are sorted, that's it.
We're off.
Split time.
And that's why everything is so hectic and chaotic right now. I know in our session yesterday, Kaz, we talked about, you know, rising food costs and gas, all the stuff that's going on with the gas and things. And even the virus, all of these different things are in our reality right now to try to get people to shift into a different direction, to wake up and see what's actually going on. And it's going to become more and more and more intense because it's getting you to start to see that and go, hang on a second, you know, something's got to change. And so until more people wake up and see that and start doing that inner work that we've talked about, we're going to keep experience more intensity, which is, I don't know, you got to buckle your seatbelt because it sounds like there's more to come.
Oh, yeah.
It's definitely all actually for our benefit.
Yeah,
it is.
Even the stuff that we think isn't,
they said
all
that
for our benefit.
They said that yesterday, you know, talking about how it pushes, you know, food costs are getting astronomical. Some people are having to make different choices. So they're coming together in groups and they're starting their own community gardens so that they can begin to feed these families. And so the guides, or what came through in the session was, this is very necessary because it starts people thinking in a different direction. So if you didn't have that squeezing, it's going to keep everybody right where they are. It's very necessary, even though it's no fun.
It is, yeah. For those people that think they want to carry on living the way that they've always lived, it's going to be the most difficult for them because this is a period of change, massive change.
Yeah.
And those people that want to stay in that same lane that they've always trucked along in, they're going to find it really difficult. I feel sorry for people like my parents, you know, those guys that are young enough to be fit and healthy but have retired, because it kind of seems at the moment like, you know, there aren't many options for those guys. A lot of the things that they thought they were going to do, they spent the whole lifetime working for, just they're not able to do.
Yeah.
But I keep saying to them, but this is good. It's all good, because where we're going is going to be so good. There's going to be goddesses and Pegasus horses.
I want a Pegasus. There better be a Pegasus or I'm not going. It's funny because it seems so doom and gloom on the outside, but I know people who are looking at building new schools, building new medical systems, who are buying land together. I see all that every single day.
Yeah.
So it's bubbling away. It's bubbling away. It's bubbling away. And more and more people will join those groups.
And I've been saying for a long time, you know, the flood is coming, and it's coming. And it's gonna seem like we're going backwards in time, but we're actually moving forwards in time, because we're going back to a simpler way of life with ancient technologies that we were forced to forget about. And it's gonna seem like we're going back to a simpler time of using crystals and you know, making our own food and living in communities, and where, you know, us as healers or any kind of healing modality is going to become key in the medical world and hospitals and stuff like that, that we've come to, you know, think of as, you know, the medical is not going to be the medical anymore. It's going to be us as healers at retreat centers, at healing retreat centers and stuff like that. So it's going to seem like we're going, you know, back in time. And that has come across many times in sessions, you know, even my own personal session where, you know, a fractal me on a spaceship is overlooking a valley of, you know, ascended humans that are basically in a camp. And you can see the campfires all through the valley, and everybody's having a beautiful time around campfires, because it's simpler, it's easier living, it's perfect. And
Can't
it's
wait
beautiful.
for that.
And I want to address, someone had asked about the difference between a gateway and a portal, and that actually came out in Kaz's session. The difference between a gateway and a portal. A gateway is a gateway between dimensions. So if you increase that vibration, that frequency, then you can pass through the gateway. A portal, what was said was that a portal is for us to be able to go someplace else, to go to another place, another planet, another universe, another place. So once we get the portal set up between my place and Kaz and Laura's place, then we're just going to be popping between and just visiting each other.
We want a password of some kind. You can't
Yeah.
just pop in.
You can't just pop in. No, you need a password.
Oh,
You know,
You
could
get
be
the
having
password.
a bath, Laura.
I don't mind. Can you imagine?
Yeah,
Three people just pop in your room.
Yeah, you just laid there in the bath. Oh, all right.
How you doing? It wouldn't bother me either. I'm like, okay. Hope you don't mind.
I'm going to need a
Never bothered
password.
me.
You're gonna.
I'm going to need a password.
Yeah, I won't
funny.
need one. You're all right. You're all good.
So, but yeah, we might have to put up passwords.
So we need the word to get out. We need everyone to like this video. That would be awesome, and share it as much as possible.
Absolutely.
Please.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Should we cut it? Should we cut it all here and cut it? We're at
I think so. I think this has been fantastic. Yeah.
We could go on though, as usual. On and on.
Forever.
I mean, does anybody else have anything else important that they want to share?
I mean, we had a whole list, but I think we'll need to save it for next time.
Yeah. We basically really only covered healing and removing entities. So we have this whole list. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it next month too. So I think these Tuesday talks are really important for us, and I think us coming on here and discussing the stuff really helps everybody, and it helps raises everybody's vibration and gives them hope and what can be accomplished. How about we give parting words from everybody? Let's start with Kaz right there.
I would just like everyone to share and like this video as much as possible. Let's get the word out there. Let's get helping more people. And thank you everyone that's joined, participated in the chat. It was so nice to see. We love it.
Beautiful. Heather?
Yeah, Heather.
I agree. I'm just so grateful for these three beautiful souls and all of the practitioners that are doing this work. I can't wait to see how this will evolve in the future. I feel like we're just evolving into something that's going to be so amazing, and we haven't even figured out what it's really going to evolve into. So I'm excited to be part of this journey and grateful to everyone who comes along with us on these chats.
It is really exciting.
Yeah.
And that's what we should always hold on to. Yes, there is a lot out there at the moment that's telling us it's a really bad time. But don't listen to that.
It's not.
You've got control from inside of what you experience out there. And for anybody that has listened to this and feels really moved by it, and you want to help others, for those of you that aren't aware, we do teach this modality as well. So if you want to come on the next course, the next one I think is the 6th, 7th and 8th of July. I haven't got many places left on that one, unfortunately. It's almost sold out. The next one is August. And yeah, come along. You can book on that course at www.schhofficial.com and train to be a practitioner. That's it from me.
Beautiful, beautiful. And I got goosebumps all the way through this chat. So, I mean, it just feels good for us to get together and talk. I mean, let's awaken that warrior spirit. Let's awaken that healer spirit. Let's awaken that creator spirit and make the reality what we want it to be. And that's how we get to New Earth. That's how we raise the vibration everywhere. We heal ourselves, we heal everybody else, and we can make this reality what we want it to be. And I think Francine had asked about, I don't know if you can see that, Laura, about wanted about the class. Says,
I can't see anything.
will you honor the discount for JC's video in that class in August?
Yes, if they pay now. So they know about the discount already. So if they contact me and tell me that they know about the JC discount, then at the time of sale, then yes, I will absolutely honor that. But I'm not going back through previous people and refunding money back. So if anybody wants to know the answer to that one, then the answer is no.
Okay. Perfect. Beautiful. I think it was another great conversation. We'll have another one next month. And we're going to say goodbye for now. And we'll hope to see you soon and talk to you soon.
Thanks, Tony.
Bye, guys.
Absolutely.
Bye.
Take care, everybody.
Much.
Love you all.
Bye.
Love you all. Bye.
And end it.